Hi everybody, it's Nikki Brouwers. I haven't chatted for a while during COVID, so I thought I'd just do a really quick update on potentially what's happening in my world, and maybe just give some hints on world's best practice about workers' compensation claims. Why workers' compensation claims? Because right across Australia, we're actually seeing an increasing trend. What's happened internationally before is that when unemployment is high, so are claims. So I thought it might be a really good reminder about what's the evidence say, what's best practice, and then for us to think in the passenger transport industry, are we doing that? So we know that, what do we know? We know that when someone has an injury, illness or disease and they're on workers' compensation, that the opportunity for them to return to work, or the likelihood, for them to return to work is not related to diagnosis. In other words, diagnosis is not a predictor to return to work. And we've seen that, haven't we? We've seen some of the most extreme, significant injuries seem to resolve. And in spite of the significance of them, people get back to work relatively quickly. We've also seen paper cuts, literally. We've seen seemingly slips, trips and falls that without a real clear diagnosis are never returning to work. So if it's not diagnosis, if that's not the predictor to return to work, what is? And we know what they are and we can influence all of them, so that's the good news. The first one, relationship with supervisor. If I have high job satisfaction, if I have high engagement, if I feel that I have a good relationship with my supervisor, significantly increases the likelihood that I will return to work. That's the first one. The second one is also really interesting. It's around health literacy. So health literacy is a posh way of describing, do I understand the way my body works? Do I understand what health is? And the research is really clear about this. People who have an understanding, or who they don't necessarily have the understanding to start with, but whose health practitioners spend the time to explain to them the mechanism of what's going on, the mechanism of pain, the fact that pain is not necessarily bad past 12 weeks and that we can go through pain, that they get greater return to work outcomes. So my message for that is if you have someone on workers' compensation, make sure that their doctor is explaining to them, that they're being really clear and specific about what the injury is, what the recovery rates are like, the prognosis, and just some explanation behind it makes such a big difference. The third thing is perceived injustice. So what do I mean by perceived injustice? Is that these are comments such as, oh, well, when Mary Jane went on workers' compensation, they bought her a cake. Or when so-and-so else was away, they were able to do whatever job they wanted. So our staff members will judge your way you treat them based on how they perceived other people being treated. It's really important that there's a sense of equity there. Really, really important. And that goes as far as how they were treated directly after lodging the claim. So I've had workers say to me, when I was sick with prostate cancer, they took care of me. They were so nice. But the moment I walked in and told them I had a back problem, I was asked, are you sure you did it here? I was told that that's all just bullshit. Those sort of things don't happen. And I felt like I wasn't listened to. So my advice to you is to say, lean in, take time to help a worker feel supported, give them really good support through their doctors to make sure they have health literacy, and make sure that there's equity there so that people don't use that, the perceived injustice, as a reason not to come back to work. Anyway, as always, if you have a question, come and see me. Otherwise, as my nan always says, your health is your wealth. Bye.